Hey everyone, Angel here. I was actually going over a bunch of my VODs from the beta, looking to make some videos, and I noticed that even though I felt at points like I was doing really well, a lot of the things I was doing were incredibly inefficient and just they could be improved upon. So I figured I'd do some analysis and some overview on that, and just completely go through and point out good things, bad things, and what I should have done in situations. Because in a lot of these games, even though I do well score-wise, there's much there's a whole lot of room for improvement in the level of play that I'm putting out. Part of it is because I'm playing with friends and getting carried away. There's a whole bunch of other reasons that I could give as an excuse, but I feel like just pointing out things that were going wrong and what I could have done instead, what I should have done, will help not only me improve, but will help other people understand the game better and improve themselves. If you're unfamiliar about how I go with casting and analyzing things, I'm going to be doing this in one take. There's really not going to be much editing. Maybe some words thrown on the screen here and there, but generally it's going to be this recording plus an intro and an outro. I did the same thing when I was casting games for Blade and Soul, and I'm going to be doing the same thing here with analyzing. Um, First off, the first thing I noticed from going through this is I had a few opportunities to, but never partook in stamina play, which is when your opponent is out of stamina, use a guard break to knock them down, and get free hits in for, well, literally free. Coming up here is actually a perfect example of why you make sure that you VOD every game that you play and go over it at some point or another if you have any questions about what went wrong. Because I have a plan to throw this guy off the ledge there, and I don't know how it happened, but somehow my hand got offset. I remember I thought I was pressing X here. I see it coming. I start spamming X, or so I thought. You check at the controller, I'm spamming the shit out of A. I thought I was spamming X, and I even vocally complained about how something must have gone wrong. I must have done something stupid or whatnot because I expected to break that guard break. I thought I was spamming X, but the entire time I'm spamming A. The prime example of even when you're doing well or you think things are going well, to just VOD your stuff. Even if you don't go over it, if you have any questions or want to go over it, you have a prime example of what happened. It's a great thing about overlays such like that one. I can literally see what I'm pressing. So even though I really felt like I was pressing X, turns out I wasn't. I would have probably bet somebody that there was some sort of an issue there, whether it was latency or whatnot, that it was, not me, but it was definitely my fault. Coming up here, as I'm going to talk about 2v1s. This isn't exactly a fight where it comes into play, but a lot of people don't really know how to do 2v1s. They'll keep attacking into the person who's defending, the solo player, and they'll just feed him revenge. So, in my opinion, the best way to do a 2v1 is for one player to continually guard break the solo player, and the other one to actually go for the damage dealing abilities. This is because when you have revenge on, your attacks have hyper armor, which is what other games like Dark Souls and such like that would use to refer to a point where your attack cannot be stopped by taking damage. Revenge provides hyper armor for a certain portion of your HP. When you use Revenge, I'll back up here a second, you'll see that a certain portion of the HP becomes a yellow bar. That is temporary HP. That is damage they can take before they return to losing their regular HP, and that is HP that is lost once they fall out of Revenge mode. During that time, though, they have hyper armor on their attacks, and it's really useful for winning 2v1s or 1vx scenarios, where X can be anything. I have a highlight reel where I do a 1v4 because of abusing Revenge and how strong it is. Because it not only gives you the hyper armor and the temporary free HP, it increases your offensive and defensive capabilities. So, I don't completely follow these rules because I'm getting carried away and I have a big problem of not paying enough attention, which is why I'm going over these for myself as well as you guys. But I eventually start doing it where I break his armor and I break his guard and I let my ally, who's actually a friend of mine on Discord, deal the damage to him. But even then, I still make a whole bunch of mistakes and could have overall done that a whole lot better. With the Berserker in general, a lot of what you want to do is baiting your opponent into attacks, and I was just being completely over-aggressive because I had a whole lot of momentum going from a few other games that I was playing. Like here, I'm being incredibly too aggressive. I got the parry, I got the deflect off, and I was able to go follow that up into a kill. But even here, I'm just attacking way too much. I'm overextending myself. My stamina is incredibly low, and I'm not stopping my attacks. The warden's doing a good job of just letting me waste my stamina, but he doesn't capitalize on it when I'm low on stamina and try to take me out because of it. He just lets me regen my stamina. He doesn't try to guard break me and knock me down or anything. He just lets me get my stamina back up. Here's another prime example of when I should have been employing stamina play myself. He was he was a completely out of stamina, and I never even tried to guard break him. He was successfully guarding my attacks, so it would have been a fair opportunity to try and guard break him, but I never went about it. If you guard break somebody as soon as their stamina hits 0, you can get one good attack in, and then you can follow up with another guard break and get another attack in. 2 free, heavy overhead attacks with most classes. That can actually basically be somebody's entire health bar, depending on how your character is, what character you're playing, and what character you're going against. Characters have varying HP values, defensive and offensive values, so it obviously, I can't say 100% of the time that it will result in that, but a lot of the time, just getting the free knockdown damage can translate into a kill later when it otherwise would not have. But yeah, I went over aggressive there, and I even pushed myself into exhaustion and not having stamina. The opponent went for a guard break, which is the proper play there, because I'm completely out of stamina. He went for it soon enough that he would have been able to do the 2 knockdown play, which would have killed me if I even had 3 or 4 bars of health, whereas I only have 2.5 now. Most characters have around 4 bars and like a quarter of another bar. Maybe it's 5 bars and a quarter of another bar, but I know they don't have a full extra bar. They always have like a quarter of one. But what happened there is I attacked because, like I said, I'm currently being extremely over-aggressive, and it wound up paying off because the attack had already been going through, and guard break does not interrupt attacks that are already in motion. So from there, I just get an easy deflect off, followed by basically the free attack you get after parrying or deflecting something, and that finished him off. This is another situation of where I'm not playing a 1v2 correctly. I'm still being incredibly over-aggressive. My teammate actually saves me there, and I continue being over-aggressive. We feed him revenge, and he almost one-shots me. He did 2.5 bars of damage with one, I'm going to assume it was a heavy side attack from the right. And he hits me again, and I literally live with a sliver of health, all because I was being over-aggressive. Now, I did the proper thing by expecting the revenge and not attacking into it to be knocked down, but I was still being incredibly over-aggressive and not guard breaking to prevent him from getting off his offensive abilities. You have to be careful, though, because, as I just said a moment ago, while I believe the proper response to somebody being in revenge is to guard break them, at the same time, if they are continually putting out attacks, they are essentially immune to guard break, because while you're attacking, guard breaks will literally just fall off of you. They'll basically be reflected by themselves and be a waste of time and otherwise offensive or defensive maneuvers that could have been taken. But I got way too close and I got completely shit on. I noticed this and I let my friend know that I'm pretty much getting out of there. And I run all the way back to point C. So I'm going to start pointing things out also from a 1v1 and a team-based point of view here. If you want to go back towards the beginning of the video, you'll see a point where my teammate CCs somebody into the wall, and I attack through my teammate to hit him. That's where I think the 4v4 play is going to be actually really nice to see, and I hope there are some competitions that will allow teams and 4v4 play like that. A lot of people just want to see 1v1 competitive play, and I definitely want to see that as well. I just feel like with all the abilities that characters like the Raider, the Warlord, the Conqueror have that are CC-based, that being able to use those properly in a team scenario would be nice. And that way when people do something like this, you can laugh at them and call them a nerd, call them a noob, a nerd, anything, and they can't just say, well, it's a Dominion game, I'm just fucking around. Because I got completely over-aggressive, like I was saying before. I ran in there, I didn't even defend myself properly, and I got completely wrecked, literally gave away a free kill, which, if you want to be critical from a competitive 4v4 standpoint, which, because I'm trying to push for that to be a thing as well, not only did I did more than just die there. I died to 2 people in midfield, meaning I lost any presence that my team would have had in midfield, and I gave 2 people experience towards their class skills, whatever they may have chosen. Which, when you spin it that way, is a lot worse than saying, oh, I made a bad decision and died in mid to 2 people. It's like, well, I actually gave these people free experience. Yet another situation of where improperly handling a 1v2 goes... This one actually didn't go well. This one went pretty poorly. My friend Chicken actually died completely because of what I did. So, I'm attacking here. As I've said a million times, I believe the proper way to deal with a 1v2 is for one person to continually try to break guards and find openings, and not let the person spam blocks to get revenge, because revenge is so strong. I don't believe there's a problem with revenge being strong. I just believe you need to play around it better than just spamming attacks into them and then complaining when you die about it. Here is exactly what I did. I spammed an attack into it. He got the blocks off. He took the damage. Even taking damage gives revenge, but it doesn't give as much as defending yourself. So I do that. He gets another block off. It's actually a complete parry, and I literally fed him revenge. So because I fed him revenge, my friend dies for it. He literally completely killed my friend because of my misplay. I managed to pick up the kill afterwards, but we could have completely avoided him getting the experience. Like I said, from a 4v4 competitive point of view, we could have completely denied him the experience, I guess the score, if you want to go by that, but that's not really the big deal. The more point of getting across is the experience towards the class skills, which could come into play. Knights have a catapult ability, which is really strong, especially when a team is breaking. We fed him experience towards that if he's running it. Could be a lot bigger of a deal than one person just dying for nothing. In a 1v1 situation, in a 1v1 standpoint there, like the whole 1v1 dueling aspect, obviously you wouldn't really need to worry about that too much because it would be a one-on-one. But even then, I still fed him revenge. You can still, in a 1v1 duel, if you're over-aggressive improperly, you can still feed somebody revenge in a 1v1 duel. I've done it on my Berserker. As I've been learning the class, I've done it on the Berserker, especially when I was learning the infinite combo. Because that combo puts out a lot of pressure, it's really good for toppling players that aren't solid on their defenses. They're not... like, if they mess up their defenses once, it can be really hard to recover in the middle of taking the infinite combo that Berserkers have. But if they stay on top of it and don't parry you, and just continually eat the blocks, you'll exhaust yourself, and you'll feed them a revenge bar in a 1v1 situation, and it becomes really bad. So, here's another misplay where I could have completely went for the guard break. I got lucky because he went for a guard break as I went for an overhead, and as I've said a million times, guard breaks just bounce off of any actual attack, whether it be light or heavy. Once the attack has started, the guard break just bounces off. So, in this situation here, we're going to be looking at this one from a 4v4 point of view, because this is a 2v3 on the point. So, from an elitist point of view, what that means basically is that there can only be one other person out on the map for blue team. I can't tell where that person is right now. I can't tell based on my map, so we're going to assume I have no knowledge where that player is. But because there's 2 of our players there, or 2 of our players here, that means 2 of our players out on the map as well. So it would be fair to say that we have map control, and with careful positioning could take the front, which is point B on most maps, as well as keeping point C. And all me and my friend have to do is stall them at point A to get the point advantage towards breaking. Obviously, we were not going for that type of high-level Dominion play, but being as that I'm advocating for, and I see potential in Dominion to emphasize other classes that might not be prevalent or super strong in 1v1 situations, I'm going to keep pointing these things out to show people as best I can that I believe Dominion can also be a competitive game mode, even if it doesn't have a separate balancing from 1v1s, just purely based around the abilities and skills that characters have. So, like I said, we have 3 people tied up on point A. All we need to do to be efficient would be to stall them here and not die. So, that actually absolutely does not happen. I repositioned because from where we were at, we were in a choke point, and that would have given them more surface area to attack us than would have given us more area to maneuver. So I went to go fall back and move around, and I just didn't tell my friend because I'm an asshole. So my friend completely dies here. I recognize that this is a terrible situation after having a little bit of a Brazzers moment, and I just start breaking away. I get lucky enough and I lure only one of them to chase me, while the rest of them try to go and reclaim the map. Which is perfectly fine because the Berserker is an assassin, which excels in 1v1, air quotes, even though I believe all classes are potent in 1v1s. I actually, from a high-level, air quote, high-level Dominion theoretical point of view, the Berserker being an assassin shines in 1v1s because winning 1v1s gives the Berserker more renown, which is experience towards your levels, than other classes. So I use my Frenzy ability here, which gives me increased attack and defense, and you can completely tell that it pays off because when I do land hits, just watch how much damage he takes. So this part was actually, I was talking to my friend about a play I did earlier. I'm explaining why I go running away for no reason. I was explaining a play to him I did earlier about how I believe that for Berserker, at least currently I believe that running the Frenzy and Berserking Tier 3 and Tier 4 talents were very powerful together because of their synergy. Berserking, or Frenzy, the 3rd tier talent, provides you a movement speed boost as well as an attack and defense boost, and then Berserking itself provides a defense and attack boost. And stacking them all together leads to some pretty insane damage. So I was just demonstrating him the move speed you get from Frenzy itself. And then I run back into a very bad situation, and I'm pretty sure I get out of this, but it was just a bad call to run into the middle of them, seeing that there were 3 of them and 1 of me. Even if I went off the assumption that I'm a better player than they are, which I have no real means to say that, a 1v3 is not a scenario you want to be in, especially in any type of competitive game. In any type of competitive game, you want to give yourself the best chances you can get, and going into a 1v3 is literally just blindly throwing away an advantage, which I've done quite a lot this game. Part of the reason I'm pointing these out is not only because I want to teach other people about it, but I want to remind myself not to do these. So, I catch this guy going back to the point right as we start breaking them. And I actually forget that I kill him. Because I kill him with a light attack, and then I move on to fighting this knight. So he's just laying there, and I completely forget about him. That's going to come back to bite me a little bit later. This knight isn't bad, and this is another demonstration of me being over-aggressive and taking free damage for that, but we're going to showcase how strong the defensive buff from Berserking is. So Frenzy just wore off, as we can see down here. Frenzy just wore off, but I also unlocked Berserking. So I roll back, regen a little bit of health, and pop Berserking. He does a running attack and barely doesn't kill me. And then from there, we're going to look at how much damage how much damage these simple attacks do. He's got 4.25 bar of health. He blocks a sidestep left attack. I parry his attack and get an overhead heavy, which, for the Berserker, doesn't do as much damage as it would do during an infinite combo. I feel like I need to specify this because an overhead heavy during an infinite combo can do anywhere from like 50 to 60-ish, 65-ish damage, which is pretty huge. But when not during the infinite combo, it still does a good bit of damage, but not nearly as much. But still with Berserking, I landed a single overhead heavy and reduced him from 4.5 bars of health to 1.5 bars of health. It is incredibly potent. I'm still being over-aggressive. What I should be doing in a perfect world would be feinting attacks, trying to get him to either launch an attack at me in his attempt to feint, and then parrying that and going from there, or just feinting and then immediately following the attack up with another way to try to sneak it in. Both of those are viable ways to try to work around a parry, or a feint, because a lot of people know the parry timings based on the character. For example, they would know a raider, okay, his swings are slower, and they parry just based on muscle memory. Which is the train of thought behind when you feint, trying to bait them into, when they go to parry it, actually launching an attack without intending to. I feel like on better players that's not nearly as reliable, but I could definitely see that being the case among mid-tier players, where they've just figured out the timings of every character's parry for most attacks, and they see the attack coming. Even though you feinted, they instinctively tap their heavy button trying to parry, and instead launch an attack. In which case, you can take advantage of that. The more likely way to go about it, though, is probably feinting and then redirecting the attack somewhere else, which I don't do, and I'm just still throwing attacks into block, which, in this case, does not give him revenge, but could, and that can get very bad. So, as I said before, not killing that, or not executing the Conqueror, which I didn't have a chance to do because I was fighting a 2v1, actually comes back to bite me a little bit, because I completely forget about him. What I should be doing right now, I captured Zone A. I should step off of Zone A and watch that guy's corpse. Theoretically, what can go wrong here? They're not going to make it to breaking anytime soon, because the only point they have is point B. So unless somebody is visibly in mid, cleaving our soldiers down to get points to push us to breaking, then the only thing we have to worry about is them taking points back, which would get them out of breaking potentially and put us in breaking. So we have the point, but points don't capture instantly, so I should be fine to step off the point and watch that guy's body. But, like I said, because I wasn't even thinking about at the time playing this properly, which is it's a bad mindset to have. Even though these are just public games that I'm playing with friends, I should probably still be putting my best foot forward, best effort, and trying to win these. But I'm just standing around guarding the point and getting health back. I have enough health now to survive 1 or 2 hits, and it's a 4v2 right now, so all I need to do is make sure that they don't res that guy, and hold on until my teammates show up. But I sit here and grab health, and I just let them completely res that guy. And now I'm in a 1v2 on a point here. If I'd been camping on the point there, if I'd been camping on the corpse, he wouldn't have gotten up and I would have been able to fight the Orochi by himself. I wind up winning this, but even then, I could have done it much better. I managed to use revenge for some hyper armor there to trade with the Orochi and just completely win the trade based on the fact that I have the temporary health and he doesn't. And then a 1v1 with a warden. I'm not going to say it's simple, because against a good warden it would not be. I am a slightly better player than this warden, so it goes pretty well for me. But overall, I believe that Dominion actually has a very high potential for a good observer game, with all the differences in all the classes, all the abilities they have. Even, for example, say Raiders, for example, wind up not being the strongest 1v1 class, which I believe they are a strong 1v1 class because they have their own strengths and weaknesses, their own playstyle, and the beauty of For Honor is that while you might not do as much damage as another class, you have a playstyle that can play to your strengths and not to theirs, which is how asymmetrically balanced games work. I still believe, though, that Conquerors, Warlords, Raiders, and such, the really big guys, with the exception of like the Warden and the Kensei, would be really great to watch in Dominion play, because they wouldn't just be a character that's picked for their strength. Like, they wouldn't be a character picked for their ability to duel, or their ability to defend a point, or push a point. They would be picked for their synergies with other classes. For example, like the Raiders' ability to pick up somebody and carry them. When they're carrying somebody, you can still damage the person they're carrying. When they throw the person before they land on their back, you can still damage the person they're carrying. And I believe interactions like that, while there's small things that might not go noticed in every game, I believe being able to capitalize on those and work with those correctly would be able to make teams in Dominion quite competitive and has enough small things that add up that would definitely differentiate good teams from bad teams and allow Dominion to be a good spectator sport, similarly to 1v1s. 1v1s are great to watch because you get to see two people playing and trying to outwit each other. But everybody loves team games as well. I can't say everybody, most people love team games as well. Team games are very popular to watch because you get to watch teams work together, you get to see superstars, people that are known for kills, people that are known for this, people that are known for their support, even if they're not known for being the best individual player, because they mesh well with a team, they go and they're a well-known player. I believe Dominion mode has good potential for that. And the reason I'm spending time into this video voicing that is because I've seen on Reddit and a lot of other places people that are saying don't balance around Dominion and such like that. And while I agree on some points and I don't agree on some points, I just wanted to express and try to get other people's opinions on that. I believe Dominion could be a good spectator sport, a good thing to push for tournaments and teams to watch as well. And I wanted to get other opinions on that, and hopefully other people agree with me. So, I went over my own game in this replay. This VOD. Because replays don't actually exist. This VOD, I went over my own game. I'm going to be going over more of my own games, but I'm also looking for other people to send in games for me to go over. Because that way I can show, if you want to show off your own games, your highlights, your good plays, your bad plays. If you don't know what you're doing and want to get some help, I can put some input on it. Basically, I want more resources to draw from to analyze games and to explain to myself and others to improve the level of play for the game. So I'm going to put on screen a email that you guys can email VODs to, and I'll pick a few of them, and every once in a while I'll do an analytical video like this. As we go on, I'll get better. We'll start to figure out more things that are common. I'll go over the meta and things that are more current as those come along, but for now, it's just for analytical purposes, both learning for me, for you guys, and overall general information to be put out into the community for people to deal with what they want. So, be sure to send those in if you want, guys. I'll see you guys on my next video.